Okay, so tell me, how did you guys come up with the A-frame? What was the genesis idea?
Well, I was looking for a place to move my print shop, and a friend of mine's dad owned this building and brought us down here to check it out. And so we knew it was going to work as a print shop, but there was too much space. So we thought, what we do the rest of the building and what would we call it? And my wife and I were just sitting there one day, and I was like, let's just call it the A-frame. That way, it won't be hard for people to find it.
What was it before?
It was Brim's Science Museum, previous to us, and then before that, it was a flower shop. I believe it was Royal Barn Florist.
Okay.
And I believe it also had a liquor store somewhere in its history, but
that would have probably been way back.
All the windows. So
oh, is there? Okay. Okay. And when did you guys start this?
It's been 3.5 years now.
And it's your wife and you?
My wife Sheikla and my best friend Shane Butler.
Okay. Okay. And you guys were a print shop, but what did you do before print shop? Like, give me the Alex Smith story. Were you born here?
I was born in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Grew up here. Moved to California back in 2003 and lived there for 9 years.
What part?
Humboldt County, north of San Francisco.
All right,
the
that's
Redwood
fine.
Forest.
That's northern. That's not the important part of the state, but it's
pretty
it's all
close
right.
to Oregon. Well, it's definitely not your typical California. And then I met my wife Sheikla, and I moved back here. And,
so is she from California?
No, she's from Lawrenceburg, Kentucky.
And you met her
in California, friend of a friend, and we just bumped into each other, and then we saw each other again. And
so two Kentucky kids meet in California and open a shop in Kentucky. That's interesting. So where did you go to elementary school?
Potter Gray.
Okay, so you're a Potter Gray kid.
Yeah.
So
I went to Parks and Rec before that, back when Parks and Rec was over on High Street.
I don't even know about that. Was that an elementary school?
It was called High Street. We used to play basketball down there. It was like a preschool basically, and all my friends that I hung out with in preschool, we all still hung out together. So
your preschool friends are still your friends today?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Since we were like 4 or 5 years old.
That's crazy to me. Okay, and then you went to Potter Gray, so does that mean you went to Bowling Green Junior High and then...
Bowling Green Junior High, 2 blocks up when it was still a junior high, and then Bowling Green High School.
And so you're purple through and through.
I guess, man. My wife's favorite color is purple, which is weird. She's a Warren Central Dragon, so...
Wait, your wife went to Warren Central?
She did, and so did my head printer and half the people I work with. I don't know, it's weird. I guess I employ the traders.
Well, the rivals.
Yeah,
the rivals. Last week we did an interview with Stephen Bartos over at Ryan's Fatted Calf, and he says he works with a lot of purples even though he's a dragon. So there's a lot of dragon purple stuff there. Okay.
We actually all hung out at the same parties in high school because there weren't very many parties back then. So.
Okay, I understand that. And did you go to college or did you go straight to California?
I went to college in #97 to DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana.
Okay, so explain that to me.
In 2001. Both my parents graduated from there, and they just gave me a heck of a good scholarship. And
were both your parents artsy?
They claim that they weren't. My dad was a dentist, a children's dentist, and my mom...
Here in town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. John R. Smith. He passed away from cancer in 2001.
Okay.
Senior year of college.
Okay.
And then my mom, she helped run the business and then raised 3 sons, so she was busy woman.
So let's dive into that really quick. So did being around your dad and mom who ran a business, ran a dental office, how did that... You kind of watch them daily run a business, a small business. How does that translate over to you now running a business?
Probably the best piece of advice my dad ever gave me when I was a kid was, he said, grow up and find what you love and work for yourself. He said, you'll be way happier, trust me. Because he was a self-employed person. His father was self-employed.
What did his father do?
He was a business owner. He owned a bunch of cheese shops up in Louisville, and he was a radiologist at Baptist East Hospital.
Oh, wow.
So he had a lot of things going on, but he was also a real estate. He fancied himself a real estate mogul.
So you have kind of that entrepreneur in your DNA.
Well, yeah, and we like to kind of do things our way, and not like we couldn't follow someone else, but we have all these great ideas that we can only foster if we have our own business. So.
Okay, so now you open this shop. How did you get the print shop first? Because you got back from California. Yeah,
I opened a small print shop out there with a buddy, and we didn't really know what we were doing, and it's tough.
That's everyone who starts a business, though, right?
California too, man. I mean, it's like so much. Rent was twice as much. Everything was twice as much. So, and then that fizzled out, but I kept the dream alive. I kept printing, kept collecting art, and as soon as I got back here, I opened a little print shop in my garage at a house on Magnolia. but very quickly the space was not enough. It was just too small.
What year was that you switched from?
2011.
And is that when you got here?
2013 we acquired this, moved everything in, and I actually had, this whole back end was my print shop in the beginning, but it was too much space, and then the bar and the music venue made sense. We swallowed a lot of that space from the print shop with the bar and music venue, which actually made us more organized and more efficient in the smaller space in the print shop. So now we've got this really tight little print shop back here, and we love it.
And I get a lot of art, the arts community, music community, rollerblading community. They work with you in the shop.
We collaborate on projects. I mean, a lot of the skaters hang out here, including Chad, Anthony. Our buddy Wes Driver has kind of built his art career hanging out down here. The idea was to create a creative space for people to hang out and like exchange ideas, exchange creative energy, help each other out with projects that you might need help with, and then basically be inspired, which that helps artists a lot. You know, we get stuck in creative ruts. They call it writer's block if you're a writer, but
sure.
Artist block is the same thing. I mean, sometimes you just need to be around other people doing the same thing to figure out what you're doing.
A lot of collaboration and working together.
I mean, the mural project alone is like,
sure.
How many artists you think? Like 8 or 10 total? So many people who've contributed. Timmy, the owner of Rockies, has done a ton of work on this wall. Timmy, the owner of Rockies, has done a ton of work on this wall. Me, Chad, Wes Driver. We've brought in tons of artists, I don't even know their names. And then we kind of have this as an open place for people to come, you know, if you want to come paint something cool, paint.
Do you get that from when you went to Humboldt County, or was it before?
I fell in love with street art when I was a kid, but you know, living in Bowling Green.
Yeah, it
was
there really hasn't been anything like this.
Like the cool thing was when I was a kid, you could get one of those graffiti magazines, thumb through it, and look at it, but it was always like New York City, San Francisco, Chicago, Miami,
Los Angeles,
places that were not anywhere near us. And Bowling Green's never really supported the idea of graffiti art because maybe it just hadn't been done yet. But
yeah, it's a culture. It's a culture thing too.
Yeah, but the building is proof that it can be artistic and it doesn't have to be vandalism. You know,
sure.
It's an artist's way of expressing themselves on a bigger canvas for everyone to see instead of it just being in the privacy of your own home.
So when you went to DePaul with a W, right?
Yes, sir.
Not DePaul.
Not DePaul. We were the Tigers, DePaul Tigers, and a very, very small school compared to DePaul.
But it's Indiana. But what'd you get? What were you up there studying?
I ended up with a creative writing degree with an emphasis on screenwriting, actually, for movies.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do back in the day. And then,
what was your movie you still have in your head that you want to produce?
It's definitely like a low-budget horror film.
Okay.
Out in the woods.
Okay, I understand that.
Like Evil Dead 2 style.
Okay, I get that. Yeah. And then, so was there much of this kind of art and everything in DePaul?
No. DePaul's art program was not very well developed when I went there, so I switched to creative writing because I still wanted to work in the arts and creative department, but I guess I was discouraged by the art program there. Now they've got a great art program. Like they have this great,
always happens,
huge endowment.
Right when you leave, they have a great,
like $100 million, and they built the nicest facility in Indiana. So, but you know, it's fine because I came full circle, and I needed more life experience to develop as an artist anyway. Maybe it's a good thing I tried something different back in college.
And then did you go to any places that kind of inspired you on this place? And
San
like
Francisco, man. I spent tons of time in San
Tell me some
Francisco.
places you went to that this is kind of...
Well, I mean, if you've walked through the streets of San Francisco, there's art everywhere.
Sure.
I mean, everywhere. Street art is very prevalent there. And a buddy of mine bought me a silkscreen poster back in 2008 for a Christmas present, which is what got me collecting art. And then all the artists that do the silkscreen posters, most of them work in street art, or a lot of them work in street art as well. And that's how you get access to their art in your home, is they'll make a print of this giant wall piece or whatever. So that kind of got me into it. And then I started looking at like Shepard Fairey's work, a little bit of Banksy because he was kind of funny and kind of making moves back then. And then tons of other street artists around the world have just inspired me since, because once you get into it, it's kind of an addiction, man. You just want to see what people are doing.
Sure.
And it's larger than life, you know. You get to paint like a 30, 40-foot wall. There's something cool about that.
Sure.
And you get to share it with everybody because you can't not see it.
And then who are you still influenced by artistic wise? Or are you?
Most immediately, like some of my friends now, like Matt Simone, who works here,
Okay.
heavily influenced by him. And he's influenced by Ralph Steadman, who's one of my old influences, who did all the Hunter S. Thompson artwork. My biggest influence in my pen and ink work would be Brian Boland. He's a comic book artist from England that did a bunch of DC Comics covers back in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Amazing artist, black and white all. He actually kind of created Judge Dredd, which is an old school cool comic book.
Great Stallone movie.
Really campy Stallone film, but which has nothing to do with the comic books. The comic books were amazing.
We get that.
Yeah, those are some of my biggest influences. Clive Barker was a huge influence on me artistically. I know he's a horror writer and filmmaker, but if you look at his paintings, man, they are rad. And so he was
it's kind of like a lot of people talk about John Carpenter. Everyone talks about his movies here, but like the musician Run the Jewels, they will say Run the Jewels. They are influenced by John Carpenter's music, which is kind of, you don't expect a hip hop group to be influenced by a dude from Bowling Green who was raised here in the 50s and 60s.
Also, Aaron Horkey. That's actually one of my biggest influences as well. I have a bunch of T-shirts with his art on them.
Sure.
He's a print artist from Minneapolis, Minnesota, who he's been maybe coined the greatest illustrator in the world right now, which is possible that he really is, but he has had heavy influence on me in the last several years. I've got like 70 of his prints at home in my collection.
I first kind of realized who you guys were, not even by the print shop, and it's something I don't know if you really do as much anymore, but it's the gold leaf mirrors.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
I started getting into typography right about the same time I started getting into posters. I love lettering, cool lettering. And there's this guy named David Adrian Smith from Torquay, England, who teaches these workshops on traditional Victorian glass, gold leaf on glass sign making. And he's also one of the best illustrators in the world. He's a little bit more structured, like Aaron Horkey does all this crazy organic stuff, but David A. Smith, probably the best typographist I've ever seen. He's amazing. And his gold leaf work is, I mean, he did redesign like the Jameson bottle a few years ago. He's done stuff for like some of the bigger liquor companies in Europe, and he does glass panels for just all kinds of people like Disney and Facebook, and he's just a really cool guy, and he's taught me a lot. The gold leaf on glass is something I want to present to the public as one of my art forms, but the learning curve is huge, and I'm still practicing.
Like, what's the hours to make one of those? It seems like it's
you could put 100 hours in on a piece and still not be happy with it. I mean, I know that he's got sketches for some of his pieces where he's just got 100 hours on the sketch itself before it even gets put to glass. The glass, that's another who knows how many hours, because it's a very, very slow, tedious process, but the final results are amazing, and I hope by spring to have a body of work that I feel comfortable with presenting to the public as a gallery show. So look forward to that in the future.
Since you're kind of someone who talks about the arts community, promotes the arts community, invites them here and everything, what do you think Bowling Green may lack artist-wise? What voices are you not hearing enough of you think we don't have out there?
Man, I feel like the arts community is on such a rise right now and doing so well that I feel like more than anything, it's just a need for all of us to kind of coordinate a little bit better.
Okay.
We've got the gallery hop, which is good, but, you know, we miss half the meetings because we're so busy with the kid. And but if we could all make sure we, you know, coordinate and make those meetings, which my wife and I are the worst about it. But you know, and then everybody's on the same page. And if we could get more of this kind of stuff, like a mural project.
Sure.
What if we had 6 walls in this town that you could paint on, and people could do a mural tour of Bowling Green?
Sure.
It'd be super cool. I mean, I think it'd be another draw for.
Well, and it's a draw tourism-wise. I mean, yeah. I know it's from a different angle, but like Northern Ireland, all their walls that are spray paint with all their old political history of the conflict there. There's nothing to say that we can't do a mural
the
hop.
History of Bowling Green, I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, and each station, you know, locate them in such a way where you get to tour the town while you get to see cool artwork.
Sure.
So I think that would be cool if we pulled something like that off. I know there's other people interested, so who knows.
And you mentioned a kid. You recently became a father. How's that going for you?
It's amazing. The best thing we've ever done.
Has it affected how you run a business or your art or the way you look at life?
I mean, obviously. But I think what it's made us even more motivated to be successful, because Well, he spends a lot of time down here. He comes to work with us, so he's surrounded by artists and musicians and creative people all the time, and so it's made us all, I think, say a few less cuss words at work and try to be a little bit better at what we do. And
Sure.
Yeah, you know, like
set the example.
So yeah, so we're maybe we're growing up family.
I get it. You like to travel.
I do.
Where's your favorite place to go?
Costa Rica.
Why? You're the second person to tell me Costa Rica.
There's something about it, man. You know, their philosophy of life is pura vida, which is pure life, and I don't know, man. The energy down there is so positive. You don't meet a person who's not smiling at you down there, and that goes a long way. Plus, it's tropical and there's beaches everywhere, which
Sure.
goes a long way. And their ecosystem, just the diversity down there is incredible, and like wildlife and the rainforest, insect life, everything. It's just a super cool place. And yeah, like it's so peaceful.
So that's your place to tell everyone to try to. Well, I mean, not everybody go, but
goals one day to open another A-frame on the beach down there. So we'll see.
Life goals.
Call it the A-frame Costa Rica.
There you go. Hey, okay, so you talked about diversity. Let's talk about the diversity of music rolling through here. Tell me how, like,
man, our philosophy on music gets on our stage is if you're good at what you do, we don't care what genre of music it is. I mean, because we've had hip-hop, country, rock and roll, heavy metal. We've had poetry jams. We've had, I mean, pretty much anything that's you know, that people want to see.
This is not a typical, like, you know, some bars, like, this thing is long. You've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And is the print shop still here?
Hey, you want to see it?
Yeah, let's show them the print shop while we talk.
We'll have to walk through
Let's
here.
walk through this way. This is the actual, hey, Alex, really quick. This is the actual stage that most people come in. You guys just serve beer, right?
Just mostly craft beer. We have domestics as well.
Say that again.
Mostly craft beer, but we have domestics as well, and someday we'll have liquor and wine.
Okay.
Just not there yet.
And so this is the stage most people will perform on. So here's my question on when you have musicians come here, is it 21 and over all the time?
It is not. If the bands
Let's go on this stage.
make a special request for the event, we can do an all ages event from any time during the day up until 10 p.m. At 10 p.m. it's state law that we have to get rid of everybody who's under 21, which is usually fine. We do schedule early shows. We've got a really special early show in the works right now for, it's either, I think it's early December, and it'll be an all ages show. All of our gallery hops are all ages because they start at 5 and usually end by 9 or 10. So we encourage that. We've got a new gallery hop coming up in December 2nd called Lego Palooza.
Yeah, tell me about that, because I'm kind of excited about that one.
The only requirement to submit a piece, and it will be juried a little bit, but the requirement to submit a piece is to create an original Lego sculpture from your spare Legos laying around.
Yeah.
No pre-purchased sets, you know.
So my Harry Potter Hogwarts castle I can't bring in.
Anybody can go buy one of those sets, and if you can follow basic instructions, can put that together. The idea is to spark your creativity and create something original.
Sure.
Which, that was the rule in my house when we were kids. To get a new set of Legos, we had to build something out of all the other Legos we had, and then we'd get a new set.
Is the Lego thing, is that just something you've always had in the back of your head, or did the kid help?
We just love Legos.
Okay.
My wife and I have collected them. I had a huge Lego collection when I was a kid. My brothers and I built Legos constantly. My business partner Shane, his kids play with Legos constantly. They just got back from a trip to Legoland in Florida. So,
Yeah.
It's all kind of just came together like that. I was like, let's just do Legos. And it allows us to do an all ages art show. I mean, our first submission was from a 7-year-old, so
Nice.
it's going to be from 7 all the way up to 40-year-old people submitting, so it's pretty cool.
Hopefully older than 40.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's no age limit in any direction, so as long as we know it's an original piece.
And you do touring acts too, not to jump around so much, but you also do touring acts on the stage. Sometimes
we try to have at least 1 or 2 out-of-town bands per week, always paired with someone local to try and get some local support and get people out so they can hear stuff they've never heard before, and hopefully they like it, you know. And we try to do a good job of pairing the out-of-town acts with someone in town that would complement one another, so to speak. And yeah, it's working pretty well. We've been getting some great talent through here, and talent that wants to come back. So, and they all understand that you got to build a little bit of an audience in each town that you go to. So,
well, let's show them the t-shirt shop and kind of end right there. But like, you work with pretty much, like, you just recently did a John Carpenter thing.
Yep.
This past week, but what do people need to know about the t-shirt shop, the print shop, if they want to work with you guys?
We have an email address, the aframepress@gmail.com. If you want to do a job, you just hit us up on that.
Like we see White Squirrel's already been on there.
White Squirrel, the Josephines, Blackfoot Gypsies who played here recently, or we just did their fall tour shirts. The Grim Reaper. That's for an anti-fluoride campaign that a friend of ours is doing. And then we do posters for local bands. Here, I'll show you a little bit of what we've been doing. We've got some really good shows coming up this weekend for Halloween.
And I see some elements of Connie and Jim in here too. So.
Yeah, Jim has printed shirts in here, and Connie hangs out here from time to time at shows, and they are actually a huge influence on me. This is all Matt Simone's artwork, but these are going to be available this weekend, cool. Limited edition at the show. We got Heron and Crane.
Which, unfortunately, I'm gonna chop this video so some people will see it, but we're gonna have this out after the show this weekend. But I'll chop part of this video and put it out for this week.
No worries. That works.
But yeah, the print shop's available. Is there anything you think people don't know about here or have a misconception about here that you kind of want them to know?
Man, not really. I mean, everybody seems to be digging what we're doing. We're not a walk-in print shop. That's one of the things. We don't really take very many walk-in customers. Like, we don't have a front door where you can just walk in and go. Like, we prefer an appointment and people come.
Your specialty.
We don't mostly do specialty stuff, like, and mostly artistic type stuff. And then Chad and I work on a lot of our own stuff in here. Like, I've got a t-shirt line I'm developing. He's got a company that he's been running,
Southern Scum,
for some time now. And so we do a lot of our own stuff. But yeah, I mean, we pick up small jobs, mostly with bands, local restaurants, and the band's word of mouth is spreading. So we're getting more and more band artwork and more poster work, more and more t-shirt work, and hopefully that just continues to snowball in a positive way.
So if you got poster t-shirt work, call the A-Frame. If you got art
design, we'll do design work for you too. But
call
you
the
can bring
A-Frame.
your own artwork in and we'll print that as well.
If you've got music you need to perform live, come to the A-Frame. If you got art you want to show, come to the A-Frame. You need a beer, come to the A-Frame.
Yes, sir. All of the above.
All right. Thank you, bud.
Thanks, man.